have been tagged by Alicia Estelle and Lady Rebecca Fashions to do a CosTuber Q&A, and I thought I'd do it as Christine Day because why the heck not? G'day everyone, welcome back to another Catch Up with Kiralee, or rather, Catch Up with Christine today. Today I wanted to answer some questions that have been posed to me. They are part of the CosTuber questions. For those who don't know who or what a CosTuber is, it's essentially a costumer who makes YouTube videos. So, like me, yeah. As I mentioned before, Alicia Estelle and Lady Rebecca Fashions, I'll link them below. They both tagged me. Thank you ladies very much. I am honoured. And I am going to just launch into the questions. Time to get to know me a little bit better. So I've got the questions right here. So let us begin. I also don't have my glasses on or any contacts, so I'm like, what does this say? Oh yeah. So, question number 1. What's your channel name and what's the story behind it? Well, it's Kiralee Cosplay, and the story behind it is that my real name is Kiralee, and I'm highly uncreative. Question 2. When and why did you start costuming? Well, I started sewing when I was 3, but I didn't start making costumes until my last year of my university degree, my undergraduate, which was when I was 20. And it was this kind of coat that I made out of very poly gross material, but it was cheap and it did the job. Since then it kind of has progressed along. So from that I then created some theatre costumes for when I was doing theatre performances, then stock photography costumes. So I got into stock photography. It was a lot of fun. Would love to do more of that again at some point. And then I got into cosplay, and that's really where my stream is now. Question number 3. How did you get into making YouTube videos? I think, to be honest, I started watching people like Angela Clayton, and I was really inspired, and I thought, hey, maybe I can kind of make something like this myself. And so I started doing reviews of wigs, and I did also where to buy fabric in Singapore. But then what I did was that I had someone say to me, how do you make your petticoats? And I was like, well, I just gather fabric and I do this. And they go, oh, okay, can you make, a video or a tutorial about that? And so I made it and I uploaded it to my Facebook page. And then I thought, oh, well, I might as well upload it onto this YouTube channel that I've got, and I'm really not doing anything with it. If people see it, all right, that's fine. So I put it up there, and then that just kind of somewhat exploded. Which I was very happy about, but then I was very busy and I wasn't uploading any videos for a while. And people were commenting where did you go? And I was like, I was hardly here to begin with. But at the beginning of last year, so 2019, I made the commitment to upload one new video every single week, and I've pretty much kept to that. So that is that story. What's your usual genre of costumes? Is cosplay a genre? Because that's really what I do. This year I'm kind of more doing a spin of historical costuming and cosplay, kind of hybrid, meeting in the middle and just doing a lot of mix-ups or mashups, and I'm really enjoying that. So basically whatever takes my fancy. Number 5, how many costumes have you made? I actually don't know. Probably somewhere between 30 and 50, between my costumes that I made for stock and stock photography, and not including the theatre costumes because I made a few there as well. But in terms of cosplay and that, yeah, somewhere between 30 and 50, I think. Don't open my wardrobe, it will just explode at this point. I really need to find new homes for some of them, including the trash for some of them. Number 6, what was your first costume? The first costume that I made, I mentioned it before, was the black, very, very poly material coat. I guess the first cosplay that I made, I didn't even realize that I was making a cosplay. I thought I was just making a costume, was Taylor from Stargate, her dress that she wears at her like grandmother's funeral, and that was fun. I was making that on an old sewing machine, like an old Singer machine with the hand turning, because I was kind of in the UK at the time and my landlord had that machine, and that's what I sewed it on. It was a unique experience, and I actually wish I had that machine now because it's so cool. All right, number 7. Which cosplay is your favorite or biggest accomplishment? All right, so this is an interesting one. I would say either Jennifer from Cloth Road or Flora from Go Princess Pretty Cure, because both of those took me 400 hours each to complete. Jennifer won me the Madman National Cosplay Championships title for 2015, which meant that my husband and I could go to Japan, and that had been on my bucket list for a very, very long time. We won that trip and we basically used it for a belated honeymoon, and it was amazing. Flora, it was a big accomplishment because myself and another cosplayer represented Australia in the World Cosplay Summit in Nagoya in Japan, and that was a truly amazing experience. Number 8, which of your costumes do you like the least? Okay, so so the costume that I like the least is probably Amethyst, which is based off a Sakizu drawing. It's not that I dislike the costume as it looks, it's more of a case that it is the most uncomfortable costume I have ever worn. The wig is insanely heavy, plus it's lopsided. The corset just was not constructed the way that a corset should be constructed. Like, it did its job, but it could have been better. The fact that you've got this weird balance thing happening on because you've got a pillow coming out of your rear side, and then the shoes, oh my gosh, they were so uncomfortable and were very unsupportive, and I just basically felt terrible the entire time that I was wearing it. But the photos look nice. Number 9, where's your favorite local place to go shopping for fabric and other costuming materials? Probably Spotlight. Spotlight stores are very good. My local in Cannington is just wonderful, wonderful stuff. Plus also Homecraft Textiles, which has a shop in Victoria Park and also Joondalup. They have an amazing array of fabrics and they have a yearly sale of 50% off. It's wonderful. But really, I don't have a lot of options in Perth, Western Australia. Number 10, what is your favorite online store for purchasing fabric and other costuming materials? Alright, I have to give it out to Supercheap Fabrics. I seem to constantly be ordering from them. I just love their prices, their ethics in terms of the sales, and the fact that they're the only place that I can get silk at a really decent price within Australia that I know of at this point in time. So I love my silks, and every time that I make an order to them, it seems like I'm always buying silk. Number 11, commercial patterns, self-drafted patterns, or winging it. Commercial patterns and self-drafted patterns. I don't wing it. That scares me. No, I do use commercial patterns, especially if I have no idea where to start. But I also have done some self-drafting patterns, especially any kind of foam pieces. Of course, they're going to be self-drafted, but I've also done it for fabric stuff as well. Number 12, what is your favorite or most used pattern? That would probably be my very generic, like, wedding dress pattern. It mostly for the A-line skirt portion of it, but I have used the bodice a few times. Hand sewing, machine, or both, or glue. If you use glue on fabric, I'm really not very happy with you. Unless it's adhering rhinestones to it, then I'll let you off the hook. No, I love machine sewing. Hand sewing I will do. It's not my preference, but I certainly know there are some things that you just can't do with a machine. So yeah, it's going to be a mixture of both. Number 14, historical accuracy or historically inspired, or neither. When I am doing historical costuming, or, you know, in that kind of realm, it's historically inspired. I don't have a lot of passion to make it historically accurate to the nth degree, at least at this point in my life. That may very well change in the future. There was once upon a time that I couldn't understand why people would ever make costumes that were carbon copy of things that already existed, aka cosplay or normal cosplaying. So that may change in the future, but for right now, historically inspired is where I sit on that side of the argument. Topic. Let's say topic. Do you use thrifted or vintage fabrics? What are you always on the lookout when you go thrifting? I don't really go to op shops that often now. I used to, especially back in my uni days. I really enjoyed seeing what kind of cool different tops or jeans that I could find. However, I have certainly got pieces of fabric from op shops, and that's certainly, if I do pass an op shop, I do go in and have a look and see if there's any cool fabrics that maybe I could use or add to the stash. But I haven't bought anything in a very long time. Number 16, what are your favorite fabrics to work with and why? This will come to no surprise to anyone who's watched other of my videos. Silk. Silk, 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 silk. I really love working with silk, especially Dupioni or taffeta, you know, raw silk, all of these ones that are like hardy and don't, you know, easily fly away like chiffon and organza, though I do really love the feel of both silk organza and silk chiffon. Yeah, I love working with them. I love their luster. I love the sound of scissors cutting through like raw silk and Dupioni silk. It makes my heart sing. Have you revamped any old costumes? If so, what did you do to them to give them new life? Okay, so I have completely remade my Tardis dress. It was my first kind of proper cosplay outfit that I made because I had some blue satin that was given to me by an old dressmaker, and I made this 1950s inspired outfit. I learned a whole lot of skills, and then a couple of years later I remade that and added straps, changed the neckline, made it more flattering, and I just absolutely loved the look of it. It was the same concept, but a couple of years later, certainly I could see the improvement, and that was really nice. Number 18, how has costuming affected your everyday life? Well, I have taken over 2 rooms of the house. My husband's probably not happy about that, but that has happened. Other than that, I have certainly got better at time management, which I use within my job and has certainly saved me quite a lot of heartache. And also, I tend to do well at the Christmas party every year because it's costume, and I make my costume from scratch and I get respect points. So yes, that's everyday life. Number 19, what part of making a costume do you dread the most? Mock-ups. I hate mock-ups. I really hate mock-ups. You have to do them. I respect that you have to do them, but they are so frustrating to me. I want to get to the pretty fabric. I want to start creating, and the mock-ups are like just annoying, but a necessary evil. It just feels like you're making the entire costume twice. And the first time it's out of beige fabric, or like just really nasty looking fabric. So yeah, mock-ups. Number 20, what's your favorite part about creating a costume? Recently, it's been decorating it. I really enjoy putting on the finishing touches and like making things sparkle and like doing little details that probably no one will notice, but if it is captured within a shot of a camera, then people are going to be like, I see what you did there. Nice. Yeah. So detailing is probably what I am currently enjoying the most. So number 21, what is your favorite entertainment whilst you're working on something? Usually I have music on, so I will listen to a lot of soundtracks. Frozen 2 is usually on repeat at the moment, but also Wicked soundtrack, Greatest Showman soundtrack. I've been listening to Hamilton and Rent a bit. Yeah, I listen to a lot of soundtracks, and also Lindsay Sterling and Two Steps from Hell. Number 22, how many hours per week do you work on making things? If I'm in the thick of it, I will say that I will be working 1 to 2 hours per night when I get home from work, and then probably around about 10 hours over the course of the weekend or longer. So what's that? I'd say somewhere between 50 and 20 hours per week. That's if I'm in the thick of it. Sometimes it could only be a couple of hours per week. It just depends what's going on in my life. Number 23. How long does it usually take for you to complete a costume? How long is a piece of string? Now, I say this because I have made a costume within 40 minutes, which was a Shay costume from Game of Thrones. But I have also made costumes that have taken 400 hours, as I mentioned before. It really depends on the costume, and I track all of my hours because I'm a geek for numbers, and that's what I do. I would say that, like, on average, a costume will take me between 50 and 120 hours, usually somewhere in that ballpark figure. Number 24. Where is your favorite place to take photos in your costume? Okay, so here I've only shot there once, but I really want to go back and like take so many more photos. There's a place here in Perth called the Cottesloe Civic Centre, which has beautiful gardens, beautiful staircases, beautiful kind of fences. It's really lovely. And I would love to go back there and take more photos there. It's also where my parents had their wedding reception many moons ago. It's really lovely. Another place in Western Australia that's very nice to take photos is the University of Western Australia. Once again, same kind of vibe with the very old kind of architecture vibe happening. But if you want something that's really unique, then where I would love to shoot in something, I just have to figure out the costume, would be the Pinnacles, which is essentially like sand, desert, but then random rocks jutting up from the earth. It looks very much out of this world. It's awesome. A lot of Star Wars shoots have happened there. Number 25, summer or winter costumes. If summer means bikini, then I'm definitely saying winter. I probably would say, I'm gonna say winter if it's only out of those two, but really autumn or spring. Can I pick those, please? Because it really just depends. I like something that is kind of in between. It's not like full wool and it's not bikini. Number 26, what are your favorite colors to work with? I look at what's behind me. I have a range of different colors. I use a lot of pinks and blues. However, you know, it's funny. I find that I am happiest sewing oranges and greens, which is so strange because they're not my favorite colors. Blue and red are my favorite colors. But yeah, it's just, I like costumes that have a lot of different colors in them. It just keeps things interesting. That's probably why Mad Hatter is one of my favorite all-time costumes that I ever made, because it's just like color in your face. Number 27, what are you currently working on? I am working on an 18th century Jigglypuff, a sack back dress. It's gonna be fun. Number 28, what's your next project? So I try to only do one project at a time. However, at this point in time, sitting here looking in the future, my next project is actually going to be a late 19th century Elsa design. There's maybe a few of us thinking about doing that. So yeah, watch this space. I've ordered fabric for it, so I'm excited to get onto that once Jigglypuff is finished. Number 29, what is your ultimate dream costume? Okay, so I try not to have dream costumes because that makes it feel like it's out of reach, and I don't think any of us should ever feel like something's out of the reach. We should be like working towards it, and if we fail, that's okay, we'll try again later. But there is a costume that I've been putting off. I really, really want to make it, but it's a lot of work, and I need to have some sort of dedication for where I'm going to be showing it off, which at the moment, with COVID-19 being the thing that it is, and all the conventions are cancelled, I just haven't had the motivation. And that is a particular bell design. It's very, very cool, very different. It's a unique twist. I have had this on my radar and my want list for, I would say, pretty much since I started cosplaying. And I'm getting to a point where I feel like, yeah, it's time to make this. Like, it's part armor, part props, and a whole lot of detailed costumes. So yeah, watch this space. Hopefully it will happen. Number 30, do you have any other hobbies? Are they more significant than costuming? Nope, I have no other hobbies. I work, I come home, I costume / cosplay, and when I'm not doing that, I'm making videos like this and editing them and putting them up and looking at analytics because I'm a geek for numbers, like I said. Please don't judge me. Number 31, what's your favorite thing about CosTuber? I really, really love the community. It's been so cool to be able to talk to fellow cosplayers and costumers who make YouTube videos, and there has been a lot of, I guess, that there's not a judgment on you, and there's people who are within this community who have hundreds of thousands of subscribers, and you have people who have, 5 subscribers, and everyone is treated with the same level of respect, which is just so heartwarming, especially when you look at like the general cosplay community. It's not always like that, and I do have an issue with that because it's not who I am as a person. I think that we should all treat each other with respect and joy and encouragement. So I've certainly felt that so far from the CosTuber community. So I'm really happy to be a part of it. And number 32, the last question. Which 3 CosTubers will you tag? Try tagging someone you know personally, someone from a different country, and someone new to CosTube. So, who I know personally, I am tagging Coraberry. She is a good friend of mine. She is good value, and I'd love to hear her answers. As for someone who lives in a different country, I'm sorry, Alana Owlette, my dear, it's your turn, babe. We have done 2 kind of, scrap epic kind of competitions together. We've done collaborations. Now I want to hear your answers. And the last one, okay, they're not new to the CosTuber community in terms of actually uploading videos and putting them onto YouTube. But this person is getting back into the swing of things. So, you know what? You're my 3rd person. Sadie by design. I'm tagging you. Alright guys, those are my answers to the CosTuber questions. If you made it to the end, thank you so much. You're amazing. If you want to do this yourself, please do it. Upload a video. Tell us about yourself. It's always fun to meet new people and learn about you. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you all next time. Bye!